Hey guys, welcome to week 4 of Hamilton month. This week my friend and housemate Liz has recreated a Revolutionary War inspired makeup look. This represents what women during Hamilton's life would have looked like. Here is a little peek at how she put this look together.
So I'm just priming with, it's just like aftershave. It doesn't have any alcohol or anything in it. It's really good for your skin. This is pretty much just a makeup blender. Basically just vitamin E. And I'm just using that to mix up the foundations. So for the foundations, I've just got a Kryolan TV paint stick in your shade and some Clown White Super Color, which is a grease paint. So it is going to feel kind of greasy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with whatever shade this comes out as and then go paler as we need. Alright, that's still kind of dark, so I'm going to add more white. It's really weird going backwards with this makeup look because usually it's like, no, you gotta look darker. So basically the aim of the game in the 1700s was to pretty much remove all the redness from the face because they didn't want to look like they'd been out in the sun because that would be an indication that they've done work. Yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the top of the powder and that'll kind of even it out and stop it from feeling so sticky and runny and like it's going to melt off your face in a minute. It doesn't really feel like that. Alright, so I've just put a layer of powder on and now we're going to go in and do the brows, which is really easy because it's none of this brows on fleek stuff that we do now. It was literally like just get some stuff and wipe it through and hope for the best. So I'm just going to go in with, I've just got a powder here, and because the wig we're using is brown, I'm just going in with a bit of brown powder, and it's literally just to kind of bring the colour in. It's not really to define the brow or anything, it's just to kind of make it stick out a little bit more and make the face look paler. Because I didn't really do any of the brown defining back then. Sometimes they did pluck, but it wasn't generally like required. That was more of an extreme fashion statement back then, from what I understand. Please put a disclaimer on this video going, from what Liz understands. So you've actually got a bit of a sharp angle here. I'm not really going to do a lot to change the shape of your brow. Usually back in the 1700s though, they'd go for like a softer kind of curve, or it would be tapered out kind of like sideways like this. But I don't want to pluck your eyebrows. Honestly, it looks soft from there anyway. They often penciled them on as well with like pole pencil. Depending on what colour you were going for, what was in at the time, what your family was, where the moon was, the stars, I don't know. So as far as eye makeup goes, it was pretty simple back then. Honestly, it was mostly just pinks and reds, and legitimately they only really used any eye makeup at all to kind of accentuate the balance of the face. So I'm just going to go in the crease here. So the goal is to kind of make it look like you've been crying. I'm a little bit heavy on the pinks, I'm just pulling it back a bit. So what I've done here is I've just gone kind of where you put eyeliner, just with an angled brush and a soft brown. In this case I used the same brown that I used on your eyebrows, and that's just because again they didn't really use eyeliner back then, but at the same time they still wanted to define the eyes and make the skin look paler. So just with the blush, I've kind of fanned up towards the cheek, and then what I'm doing is I'm building on the apples, and that's just basically how they did it back then. It was all about having really rosy apples in your cheek, and then, you know, still having a bit up here just to kind of define the cheekbone, and again to bring out how pale the rest of your face looks. So I've just got Sarah Lisa in a wig cap, and I'm going to use this. It's just basically a strip of velvet with some Velcro on it. You just put it on like you would a headband, just where the hairline goes. This not only makes the wig more comfortable against your hairline, but it actually stops it from moving around, which is going to be really handy because when we do put a wig on her, we're putting like 2 or 3 wigs on to really get height, because I was not prepared for this assignment. So we're going to do the beauty mark, which was also known as a beauty patch, because back then they didn't really draw them on, they stuck them on. However, I'm not prepared, so I'm just going to use some Illamasqua gel liner that I had in my kit. So the beauty mark actually meant different things depending where you put it. If you popped it in the middle of your forehead, it meant that you were majestic. If you had one here, it meant that you were an assassin, so you were very dignified, but you were like Cersei Lannister, like a backstabber. Under the eye meant that you were like passionate. Anywhere in the laugh line was an indication of like you were playful, you were like always up for a joke, a bit cheeky. In the corner of the mouth was la coquette, which basically meant that you were a flirt. And then the last one was down here, and it was just indication that you were very trustworthy, you would be discreet with secrets. Because Sarah Lisa's already got a natural one, that's the gallant beauty spot, so it meant that you were very gallant, outgoing, that kind of thing, loyal. So I'm just gonna pop this here. Now, in the 1700s, these were made of silk, taffeta, pretty much any fabric, depending on what you were going for. Usually they were done in black, because, again, that made you look paler. As you can see, she looks like probably 75 shades paler now than she did before.
Which is a miracle.
This week on True Blood, you know, they also did them in other colours, depending on what your eyes were, what you were going for, if you're married, engaged. As you can see, we've put one wig on, and she looks great. She looks like a True Blood extra right now. So do you just want to hold the hairline for me? So just hold that there. And it's going to feel weird, but it's going on the top. And what I'm going to do from here is just kind of pin this wig to the wig under it. So with the wig, what we've done is we've got the first wig under here, and we're using that as kind of like a cover-up layer, because we've got the second wig all bunched up here to create height and volume. Now in the 1700s, they would have used a headpiece hat thing of cork or cotton or whatever, and they would have stuck it to the very top to give it that real top-heavy look, but we don't have that. I have an extra wig though. It was all about height and getting as tall as you can go. You can tease the wig as well. I don't think we're going to need to do that because this is pretty stiff, and then it's just a matter of kind of covering the top to give it that sort of quiff look. Not quiff, but you know what I mean. Before, that's the one, not quiff.
I feel like this is really comical because I'm sitting down and you're standing up and you're still struggling to get to the top of my head.
It's really tall.
I'm trying to be as short as I possibly can.
So we've MacGyvered a wig together.
And I've also changed and accessorized.
Fancy! Doesn't she look like Kirsten Dunst? So we're just going to throw some adornments in because that's how they rolled. Alright, so we're going to go in and do the lips. There were kind of two ways to do the lips back in the day. You could go for like the kind of just in the middle here, like the sort of Queen of Hearts look. It looks better with a white wig, and so we're just going to go for something really subtle. It's kind of like an old school version of an ombre. And it's just really subtle nude colours. I'm just using a pencil here. And it doesn't even really have to be neat because we're going to go over it with a gloss anyway. I'm pretty sure they didn't have gloss back then, but whatever. I'm I'm just kind of darkening the centre bits. So this is like a much more subtle version of the sort of Queen of Hearts lip. And then what we do is we just kind of like fan it out a little bit. This is just a really old Rimmel lip gloss I have. It's drugstore makeup, and I just apply this with a brush. I really just like the colour. It's very subtle. It blends everything really well. Now I'm just using a big brush for this one just because it does get good coverage, and the shape of the brush is kind of in line with what Sarah Lisa's lip shape is like. If you've got a more angular cupid's bow, you'll want to use an angle brush. So yeah, that's it. Pretty much done. You can go much heavier with the lips, and there are kind of two versions of this look. You can kind of draw a line between French and English. The English were very into the look, but they weren't as affluent as the rich were back then. And even then, they had different standards of beauty. So we've gone for kind of an English-based look here with a brown wig, still pale, but not like red lips, not like powdered wig, not white. Or you can go French, which is over the top, red lip, red cheeks, red eyes, white wig, powdered. So.
But if we had done that look, guys, you wouldn't have been able to tell me apart from Kirsten Dunst, so we decided not to.
Yeah, we didn't want to go too far. We didn't want to go too far. Another thing is too, I did have a better wig for this. It was red. So if you're going for this look, red hair at the time was really unfashionable. Usually it was brown, blonde, white or black. Blonde and white were the most popular, but again, if you were English, you want to do the whole English rose thing. The third thing is probably don't smile in pictures. I didn't like smiling in portraits back then.
Show off your beauty spot.
Remember to seduce the dauphin.
This is my come hither look.
And you can go as tall as you can with the wig. We've got a little bit smaller because I wasn't prepared. But
this is a little bit smaller, guys.
Yeah, this is a little bit smaller.
It's about twice the size of my head, my actual head, but...
Yeah, you can buff it up with whatever you want once you've got the right wig. You can use expanding foam. You can use a metal cage, like chicken wire that you've cut up and attached to the wig. Basically, just use your imagination and get creative. Or you can do what we did and just use a second wig that you've got laying around. It's an easy look to do, honestly.
Thanks so much to Liz for donating her time to put together this amazing Hamilton-inspired look for me. I've put all of her social media information in the description below, so please go check her out. Until next Friday, do me a favor, have yourself a super day. I got in God we trust, but we'll never really know what got discussed. Click boom when it happened, but no one else was in the room where it happened. What did they say to you to get you to sell New York City down the river? Did Washington know about the dinner? Was the presidential pressure to deliver?